This week's episode of PJ and Dak's Real Football Podcast is brought to you by Mystery Shirts UK. Mystery Shirts are an online platform that provide you with random football strips from across the globe. We search high and wide to give you as much choice as possible, from Atalanta to Shakhtar Donetsk and everything in between. Tell us your size, which clubs to avoid, and we'll do the rest. Whether you're after a gift for a football fan, fancy a new shirt for five-a-side, or maybe just want to add to your own collection. Whatever it is, Mystery Shirts have you covered. Boxes are available at www.mysteryshirts.co.uk. That's www.mysteryshirts.co.uk. Why not order yours today?
Alright everybody, welcome to episode 19 of the podcast. An absolute belter I guess today, somebody we've been trying to get on for ages. Delighted to have Chris Bungard on the couch with us today. Bungy, I appreciate you coming on, mate.
Brilliant, man. Superb, I'm buzzing.
I had to come.
Bungy boys on. Yes.
Right,
What a setup though, I must say.
It's decent, isn't it?
Probably the comfiest I've ever been on a podcast.
See if you want to do it with the Bellator boys, now bring them down. We've got the setup, we've got all the cameras, angles, that sorted, the lights and everything, it's brilliant.
Class, man.
But look, you're the first ever Scottish fighter for Bellator. How does something like that come about?
Just hard work. Countless nights in the gym. Like, people think it's easy showing up all the time, but you get days where you get your boys boot it, you get days that you're not feeling yourself sluggish, you get beat up at sparring, tapped and rolling. But you just need to keep showing up, get better, listen to your coaches and just enjoy the journey, and that's what happened for like the last 10 years. I've been doing mixed martial arts and some ups, some downs, had a lot of amateur fights and had some hard professional fights, and then I just stuck with the formula, which was my coaches, and we got there in the end. I won a lot of Scottish titles. I've got four belts on my wall, Scottish, UK, British, fought for countless other ones. And then I got the call. I was the first Scottish fighter to be signed for Bellator, first Scottish fighter to headline any major promotion when I fought in Dublin as well. So these are just all wee things I can take to my grave with me, you know what I mean? Because
some achievement,
it's good to be the first.
Because all the Scottish boys, man, we fancy ourselves as a bit of a scrapper, but we never get at that level, you know what I mean?
But it's mad because I never wanted to be a fighter, you know what I mean? Like,
But what age were you when you started thinking?
21.
Were you? Is that when you started thinking about it?
And it wasn't like, I don't know, man, I just showed up to like a class to like grapple or wrestle or something like that. Like I fought with it. I fought in school and I fought outside. I was a fighter. Like trouble just followed me about. I never started it with that.
A common denominator. See, you said there like just a wee tiny wee thing you said there about there's times you don't want to do it, and it's something I'm going to go back on to, because like Dak knows this. I've run marathons and stuff, and I like the process for a lot of things where people want the end result without having to do all the shitty bits in between. So it's something going to come back, something that really interests me. But was it Team Raw you started with?
Like, first Team Raw?
21.
Wow, man. Honestly, fair play to the coach, right? Like, he didn't really know much, but he showed me all the basics, and we're one of the best teams. Like, they all lost and stuff like that, and my coach lost, and I don't know, I was a bit wild, to be fair. Used to just go in and just fight with cunts. Like, I'd put submissions on people. Like, there's ones, I don't know if he's known the jiu-jitsu game, but like heel hooks and knee bars. Like, you put submissions on these guys, and the slight torque in your knee could be shattered, right? And like in the gym now, when I do it now, you put it on, like you go light, and the guys know. When I'm back in, man, when I used to range all these fucking submissions, and just think it was a norm, just like guys screaming, blowing their knees out, just so they would tap out, just thinking this is normal. But just didn't have a clue. But it was just wild. But I had my first 3 amateur fights then. Back in the day, this is like 10, 11 years ago, and when it was the sport was nothing, you know what I mean? Like, you were either good at one thing or another. It was new. The sport's so evolved like, you get these 15-year-olds that are good everywhere, like wrestling, stand-up, all sorts. So back then it wasn't the level wasn't good, you know what I mean? So if you were a good grappler and the guys weren't really trained grappling, you would sub them easy. And then I got my arm broke with Team Raw. I fought the best guy in Scotland. Nobody wanted to fight him. Me just being, I'll fight him as this guy, you know what I mean? So I got in a submission, and I was in a ring at the time, and my body was hanging out, and I got my humerus bone, that one right here, snapped clean off. But I was in 2 submissions. I was in a triangle, and he was attacking the Kimura, so it was like my legs were hanging out the ring. It was horrible. Snapped right off, man. And what did I do? My arm, I was trying to fight him still. Even though the fight was there, the guy shouted in my face, right? So when I got up, I was just like, I think I kicked the dressing room door in with my arm fucking still broke, because I remember him shouting at me, and every comes up, this guy's insane, man. He's got one arm hanging off, he's still trying to fight the guy. So then I was like, after I healed up and that, I was like, no, I need to make a move. His squad was in Coatbridge, and we're doing jiu-jitsu with Brian Garca. And I just showed up, and it was mobbed, like the mat was mobbed. My gym, I was sometimes the only guy showing up, and I had fights coming up and all that, like, so it was for me, selfishly, and to improve. And then Brian's like, I was like, well, I've got a fight coming up. He's like, cool, we'll corner you, blah, blah, and that was it. It was 10 years ago.
See, you're talking about, like, Team Ronald being great at it, and you're brand new to this. How long did it take for you to understand that, like, say if you go somewhere, you know it's like you've been at a team and you don't actually know that he's not any good until you start seeing other people?
Aye.
When was it you actually realised, this isn't good, I probably need to move on if I want to progress?
I think we were going to shows, and like I wasn't, but my teammates and my coaches were losing quite easily. And so you're seeing the level of all these other gyms, and you knew who was good in the country. You had the Grip House, they were the main stains, you know what I mean? They were like pioneers of the sport. So you knew young guys coming out of there with their coaches, they were got to be good. Guys for Aberdeen, all the gyms done filming and stuff like that. So we were just a team for, like, it was based in Wishy, I think. Wishy. And we didn't have good, but sometimes we had good coaches coming in to teach us, like wrestling and sambo and that, but it wasn't all the time. So I just knew the levels for the shows we were going at, and obviously when I broke my arm, I fought the best guy in the country, and I probably shouldn't have fought him because he was so much better than me at the time. So it was just, then nobody was showing up and stuff like that, so it was then I was like, no, I need to make a move. I was still only been training a year, so realistically I didn't even know how to spell MMA, not me. So it was just like, but Brian was I was the first fighter out of Scottish Hit Squad as well, because they were just doing jiu-jitsu at the time, because Brian just kind of started. He came away from Glasgow, he was in Battlefield Gym, and then I just fell there, really.
It's quite interesting, like, see, you're talking about, so obviously the sport's still in its infancy, even though it's like massive now, and like the UFC is like $1 billion company.
Yeah. Everybody's mad for it now, but
it's huge. But you're talking about, I remember this must have been about, me and my missus, the first time we ever went on holiday together was probably about 12, 13 years ago, and I remember watching UFC on the telly and think this is just wild. And it's a bit like, I like the CrossFit stuff, it's on Netflix, and you watch the original ones and they're just mental. And you see it now, it's proper, and then you look at the MMA now and it's just miles beyond where it was even 10 years ago.
But yeah, the thing for me is what Bungy's saying, it's like we all sit in the house and we all watch UFC and we all start going, is that Dodo, he should have done this and done that. Man, Bungy's done 10 years, man, and I'm still learning and all that. We're sitting in the house trying to do it. Unbelievable.
I'm not saying that, I'm not a fighter, but
no.
It's how, see, moving to getting into Brian's gym and stuff, how quick was your progression getting in there?
Oh, it was, I always remember, like, because obviously when I went in, there weren't any fighters there. There were just people that trained and grapplers, but Paul Craig was there. That he was just starting jiu-jitsu. Honey done striking. Honey competed then. They started doing like just grappling competitions, like jiu-jitsu competitions. And Paul was obviously submitting all these guys that had been trained for years, so they're like, who the fuck's this guy? But Brian's game's so tight, he's jiu-jitsu, because he's a small guy, he's strong, he's the strongest guy I know, especially for his size. So everything that he was teaching me, I was just tightening my game up, just night and day. In that fight, I went on, like the fight that I took when I first joined in Inverness, the first fight for his squad, like I was just so much better in my last 4 fights. Like my strength was good, my wrestling, and I finished the fight with a triangle in the 3rd round. So you got to see a bit of everything, and then right there and then I knew I made the right choice. You know what I mean? It's like this is just kind of the start of something new, and I felt like this was the start of my MMA career really. But I always remember obviously my first 3 or 4 fights with Team Raw, just because that's where I started, and Russell taught me all my basics, and without me showing up to there, then I wouldn't even be here. So I still owe a lot to Russell Bailey.
That's fair play to you and all, because you've not just goes, it's all down to hit squad. You've obviously you acknowledge what you've learned at the very start as well. You know what I mean?
I know.
Because I like that. See, even in football wise, when you hear players talking, and you hear like professional players talking, and they always talk about the manager they had when they were 13, 12, 13 and that. I love that, because you never forget your roots and where you came from, who you learned from. You know what I mean?
It's like we were talking about before we started about how you're doing a wee bit of coaching that you're still coaching now, we're doing some coaching at football, and you're like, you do it for the reasons to give somebody an opportunity to make them better, and it feels good when you know you've helped somebody progress. So boys at Team Raw probably think they'll be sitting in the pub now, Chris Bungard, we started him off now, he was nothing before us, didn't even fight before us, used to get battled at school and all that, kid not even fight with people.
See a lot of them end up coming out, so it kind of like put the end of Team Raw sadly. But I always remember you were going into Team Raw sometimes, you're up against like big steroid guys, and there was one, I used to be my maths teacher used to go, right, Mr. Anderson, and
don't tell me you broke his ear. That was the one you put the lock on.
He was fucking solid, shredded, but he was like this. But it was just like, I always remember, like, no, he would sub you, man. Like, he would just, like, he'd pin you down, right? And, like, he would just grab your arm, you'd just, like, there's nothing you could do. Like, all right, that's me, that, man. It was just so fucking strong. And I was at a walk with a dog the other day, and I've not seen him in about 10 years. And he's out jogging, still tapper, shredded.
Aye.
I was like, that's a call, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. I was like, how you doing? He's like, how you doing, man? I'm like, well, I always remember every time you were getting changed, like, you're looking at the door like, who's showing up today, you know what I mean? Peter, who trains with me now, like, they're judo guys. Also, he's a bit older, Peter, they don't like me saying this, but he's about 50, but strong as fuck. So you're like, you're looking at the door, is Mr. Anderson coming, is Peter coming in, who'll I go today? Big cunts, but so it could be big cunts, wee cunts, it's just a pure range. Mad cunts showing up at people, so it's just like, right, who am I fighting today, man? Know what I mean? Sometimes you're wishing they didn't show up so you can get an easy session, but you know what I mean? But these guys all mould you to who you are, you know what I mean?
Aye, definitely.
It's quite good as well. Like, I don't know a great deal about MMA and stuff, but it's good that you have that range of people you're talking about, because obviously you've got all the different mixed martial arts in there, and that could make you much better. I know, having the fact that you could be basically stand up with a boxer one session, and then the next you're in grappling with jiu-jitsu, boy, you know what I mean? That's cracking, that you can put it all together.
So some of these jiu-jitsu guys, they tie me knots, right? Just at jiu-jitsu. So sometimes I see them coming into MMA sparring, like they're wanting maybe try a wee bit of sparring. I'm just like, yes.
You play a bit with them.
This is where I get my invite. Because I was thinking about this today, like rolling and jiu-jitsu, if you're wrestling with somebody, just pure real wrestling, they know you've got to try and take them down, so it's harder to get them down. Or if you're grappling with them, they try to submit them, it's easier to defend or get away from danger. But if you add strikes into that, like, it opens everyone up. If I'm striking you, you think I'm striking them, I'm got to take you down. If maybe I'm striking you and tap you, you've got to give me your back. I'm getting submissions. So these jiu-jitsu guys come out of MMA, and I just love punching fuck at them sometimes. just to get my own back, because they're usually choking me out every week, know what I mean? So it is good when sometimes they come out and mix it in, and then you can beat them up for a bit.
It's all about a pride.
It's all tough love, though. I love my teammates, not me.
It's pride in it, I know, but in the gym you still want to be the best. You don't want even your own teammates getting the best. So even in training, you put a wee dig in people, not me.
Sometimes if you're up against like somebody good in the gym, or you're doing well, you've got a target in your back. These guys are coming.
Exactly.
The worst is going to our gym to spar with a guy. That's horrendous sometimes, because you're walking for a square goal, know what I mean? Nobody wants you to go into their gym and batter them, even though you could like them. Like you talk all the time, or you hang about at shows, you go down to their gym, you're doing sparring with them, and everybody's in the gym, you're going into the cage. It's a fight, man. And, like, you don't want to be seen losing.
What's everybody like, Bungy? Did they all start throwing in wee bombs to try to mix up, or did they and all that and start trying to get
Sometimes I go down to England for sparring, in Sunderland and Newcastle and that, and they've got a big cage, and then you go in, and then they'll all just sit around the cage just watching like a spectator, like, and it's all his teammates. They're all getting advice and stuff for that. Next thing I know, you're going to war, not me. You're just there for training.
You just imagine them guys going, oh, you taking that, no, you taking that. No, I have it. You've got to hold your discipline, something else in it.
So that just feels like a fight sometimes. Like, even though you're just training, it's like it's just part of the sport. But I
tell you, I take my hats off to you, man, because it is a fucking some shift, man.
I'd know the bottle.
But the good thing is that you can walk into any gym doing martial arts, like, and be welcomed. That's the thing. And Fitba's a bit different. You kind of rock up to like fucking Murray Park or he's a kick of the ball, you know what I mean? So when I'm travelling, like Thailand, America, anywhere in the world, I've trained in all the best gyms. Diaz gym, fucking American top team. I was in
they're all dead welcome.
I was in Jackson Wink in New Mexico, Albuquerque. That's John Jones's gym last month or something. You just walk up, all right.
Are they there? Is that John Jones? Are they all about now?
Mix in with sparring, mix in with rolling.
Is he?
It's just them out.
You just get to turn up and just be like,
aye, man,
you
just you need to sign away for all for in case you get injured
for legal reasons.
Aye, but that's a good thing.
So you've done it with all the ones in UFC and all that as well?
Done it with everybody.
Aye.
Trained in all the best gyms in the world. I trained in SBG in Dublin with McGregor for like 5 years, and I trained in AKA in Thailand.
Still take Conor McGregor?
Occasionally on Instagram. We'll go back and forth on the mail, but it's just mad, isn't it?
See with McGregor, just to gaff a wee bit, because you see all the stuff he does before fights and that, and it's obviously to get the exposure for the fight and all the hype and all that, and then you see him afterwards. I've always thought, he seems like a pure prick, but then afterwards, after a fight, he's dead humble and he's dead kind of dead complimentary to the people he's fighting and stuff. What's he actually like as a person?
He was just one of the boys, to be fair. Like, every time I spoke to him on the mat or in the showers or the dressing room or whatever, like, spoke about like fighting and football and all that and shit like that. But I remember, like, it's like me, like, you get a laugh, you're laughing, the boys, just normal. He was never a dick. He would always, I would always pick his brain with certain positions and something he would be happy to help and stuff like that. And I would always offer him sparring and stuff like that when he had fights coming up, so he was always appreciative of that. So it's always alright with me, man. Know what I mean? Like, everyone makes mistakes and does dodgy shit. Like,
see, to be fair, you get it with boxing and all the fighting, I suppose, where they have to get exposure for the fight and they have to hype it up and that, so maybe do certain things. What's it like? See the
fuck Conor McGregor, man, it's a bit Bungy.
What's it like? See, like, obviously you're involved in football and stuff, right? And that's kind of the only real background that we have. What's it like in terms of with the boys and that, when you're in sparring and stuff? Is it the same kind of atmosphere where it's like you're all taking the piss out of each other and you're just being
the
lads,
boxers, not
just being lads?
Aye. We're just winding each other up always. When we're sparring, there's tunes in them, we're singing, we're just getting a laugh and all. But the other day, my fucking coach, we're actually rolling with it, and we're doing jiu-jitsu rolling, and he chucks something on me. And he's laughing. I'm, what the fuck's that? He chucked a wasp on me and it stung me. Right? What the fuck? It wasn't coming off. It was just glued on, stinging me. My fucking arms swole up, man. He's pissing himself laughing at me.
Fighting the best.
I'm like the worst guy to do that with. Like, because I'm quite angry sometimes.
You couldn't get a beehive.
So I'm planning this fucking attack on this cunt. Honestly, he always goes into.
That's not about for an couple of weeks.
I don't know if you watch this, but I'm going to prank him big time. Goes into like Starbucks or Costa at the same time every day, but I've got something planned that's got to be filmed and all that. Like pure Ashton Kutcher punked style. Like, I'll dress up with a Mexican or something. I'll be undercover anyway, but he's getting it. He's getting it back.
Aye, because Lanarkshaw's far Mexicans getting it.
Aye, like fucking couldn't just fuck a wasp on me mid-roll, you know what I mean? Like,
I can't believe he just put a wasp on Bungy and he's going to make a camera crew together.
I love that. I thought about
see when we're away in America, like if Paul's fighting or I'm fighting in Europe or whatever, that's the best. Like, see us going away, me, Paul, Jordan or Michael and Brian, the trips are the best. Like everybody, all the fighters always stick into the hotel and do their training. We go out and sightsee and we travel, we hire a motor, go to other states and all that. We went down to the White House. So we were fighting in Philadelphia and we went down to the White House, right? We went down to the White House with these wee fucking petrol scooter things with the Make America Great Again. We're all doing a protest outside the White House and we're just flying about, man, cunts were gone mental. Honestly, so stuff like
Can't he say it? He's iron, man.
Stuff like that, man. We just enjoy ourselves. Got all the funny stories for like Vegas and fucking
I think that's the best thing,
Arizona,
isn't it? When you're going away and you're in fight mode, not, but you need to unwind. You need to relax a bit, don't you? And seeing the sights and all that. That's what I would kind of like see, just sitting in a hotel room on a computer and that.
It's not like you're just going to get bevied in. You're going out and actually seeing the sight. We were going to go back on it, but now you've started with a couple of stories. Tell us some stories from when you were in America.
What one? When I was there myself, after Paul finished in Arizona, I ended up hiring a motor and just travelling for America.
You stay yourself?
Aye, I met up with other people from different states. No, I had mates in different states, so I just like, fuck it, I'll drive right across America anyway. So I'm in Arizona, right, so I've hired a motor and then I wouldn't want to give me a motor because I was like, right, I'll drop it off in New York. They're like, what? I was like, aye. So you need a credit card. I hadn't left out a credit card even though I've never used one before and I've done it hundreds of times. So we can't give you unless you get a flight back to Arizona. You've got a flight details to Arizona. I was like, right, 2 seconds, I bought one there and then for like $20 or whatever. Like, there you go. So they gave me the motor. I'm like, I'm not bringing it back here. I'm just going right across country. So we've done all Arizona training, New Mexico, all the way through Texas, Louisiana, all sorts, man. But I'm halfway through like this desert ride. There's been nothing for about 6 hours, like nothing in Texas.
Sand, man.
Not in New Mexico, sorry. And it's like I just got this big crack right across my window, man. And it was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Next thing I know, the check engine lights come on. I'm just like, oh, no. I'm like, next thing, it's like a fucking sandstorm. And I'm just like, this is right out of film, man. Like, I'm looking at my phone, can't get a signal anywhere. I don't know any numbers to phone, even if I did, like, to fix the fucking motor, if I broke down or whatever.
Phone in the A.
Where are you? New Mexico, mate.
Mate, honestly, I was like, I hadn't seen it in 6 hours. Then next thing I know, I drive by a guy going that way. I'm like, where is he going? Because there's fuck up back here for about 6 hours. Then I'm like, should I stop? And I'm like, nah, too many films, stop here. Kept going and I see his motor was fucking abandoned. And I felt a wee bit shy about it. Should I go back, tell him he's going the wrong way or just pick him up or whatever? But he didn't flag me, not me. Surely you'd be like, I'm fucking out. So I'm like, right, this cunt's a fucking body snatcher, not me. So I was like, right, stay with him. So I kept going. I'm just trying to make it to an enterprise so I can change this fucking motor. But realistically, I shouldn't even be anywhere out of these states, not me. So I get to the first one and it's just like, oh, there's no motors on the law. I'm like, you're a fucking car dealership. What do you mean, like, a car rental? Oh, sorry, I can get one in a couple of days. I'm like, oh, the check engine light's on. They're like cracking a windscreen, like, no, there's another one. Went to another one, same, no motors. Your best bet's Houston Airport because it's got like a wider range. I'm like, right, happy days. So it's actually like chugging. I'm just like, and it's on this motorway, it's like the busiest motorway I've ever seen in Houston. And I'm like, I'm right in the middle of the lane, there's like 10 lanes and it's all jam-packed. I'm like, I'm got to break down here and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sweating, man. Sweating. I'm like, what am I going to do? Just pulling in, get to crawl to the airport, man, finally get there. And they're all happy, you know. I'm like, you put me in a fucking, just because I shouldn't be there, I'm trying to flip it on them, not me. You put me in this, it was fucking already broke, no. I was nearly stranded in the desert, I nearly died, no. That's alright, you can have this one. 2 minutes out later, I was away with this brand new motor, right? But they didn't know what's going on. They thought I was going back to Arizona. I was going all the way up the coast of New York. So fucking, as I'm driving, I keep going, and then we get to like Louisiana. I was like, I'll stop in and get some jiu-jitsu in with like Dustin Poirier's gym and that. He trained before McGregor a couple of times in Lafayette. So I went in and like this class didn't start till like 4 and it was like 3. I was like, I'll sit in the motor, but it was cooking, man. So I checked the map, see where I'm going to, because I do a lot of filming stuff, like film locations and that. That's why I travel. pure weirdo that way. And I was got to do like True Detective. I don't know if you've seen it. Right, so I was doing
season.
Aye, so I was doing all that, the scenes, right. And then I checked my map to see where I'm going first, because I was got to the tree, but it was in like a plantation, like cotton fields and all. It was about, you need a pay to get in there.
Was that the bit at the end?
No, the actual tree with the woman, the naked woman
at the start.
Right. So and then I'm getting, my phone just blew up with all these fucking weather storms, like code red everywhere. I was like, tropical storms coming in, go to your house, bolt up your house and all. I'm just like,
I've only got a motor.
I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like the class is about to start, but I need to be on the other side of Louisiana, New Orleans. I was like, I can't train. So as I'm driving, I can physically see cunts boarding up their houses, right? Trees like gone over, and then like it's all these storms, like I can see them in the distance. But I need to drive that way because it's a pure north. I might just get away for the coast one. Next thing I know, like we're in a standstill on this bridge, like the bridge for like True Detective is like going to Louisiana, and it is belting down. I can see like ships moving and all that, and I'm in the middle of this bridge, and I'm like, why is this traffic not moving? The other side was flowing. I'm like, what's going on? I'm in the middle of this bridge and I was shitting myself. I said, just get me off this bridge, man. Like it was jam packed. Through storms on storms, there was wee women getting blown about, man, and everything, and I was like, I'm like, what do you like? I was actually thinking like, I'm going to die here. Like, my motor's just got to get weeked away, man. I didn't know. So to get away from it, I was on this bridge. I can't remember what it's called, right? But it was going right across the ocean. And it's 26 mile long.
I know what I mean.
20. It's got a mad funny long
one
name.
in Florida, like.
That's longer than
26 mile rate. It's not even that high off the ocean. I don't know how the fuck they built it. So I'm driving across this to get to the other side of Louisiana. Port Geneva or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but. And I can just this storm just following me, man. It was like something out of a film. As I'm driving through this 26 mile bridge, and I'm like, why? How's this bridge so fucking long? There's waters. I was actually shit myself, sweating. I was like, should I text my bud, man? I don't know what to do here, man. Like, just try to get to the end. So the thing is, the travelling was brilliant, but the weather's just so unpredictable at all these different states, because sandstorms to tropical storms to just too hot. Arizona was like 50 degrees, cooking, man. I went out a jog and I nearly fainted and all, and it was like, I love America, but the weather, you don't fuck with the weather.
How did he just acclimatised to it or that? I don't know.
I ended up getting to the bar at the other side, right? It was at a film called The Green Book.
Oh, that's another good film.
At the wee bar at the end where he does plays the piano. And like Louisiana, but the people are weird, man. Like proper fucking hillbillies, right? So I was supposed to go to meet Theo Von, the comedian. I came to talk to Theo Von, and it's Joe Rogan's pal, but he's fae there. And I went to this bar, and they're like, oh, it's just a bit of wind and all that, and other cunts like that. I told them I came out of that fucking bridge, and they're like, oh, you don't go out of that bridge and all that. And I was like, I fucking know that now. And then this woman like fucking, she's like, you can stay at my ranch if you want. And I'm like, I've not got a hotel yet. And she went outside for like a fucking joint or something, and they were like, do not stay with her. So she has AIDS. I'm like, okay. I need to make a quick exit here, man. I'll take my photos and be gone. But so that was just a wee bit of it, but there was hundreds I really can't say because personal reasons. But there was.
What happens in the trips that
I don't even know where to go after that.
No, mate.
But that was just one.
Go back to that woman's gaff anyway.
I know.
How long did you travel in America?
That time was 2 weeks, I think. We stayed a week in Arizona for the fight, and I stayed an extra 2 weeks. But the last time we went to Vegas, we were cooked up in the hotel all week because COVID and that. And I was just like, nah, fuck this, I'm staying. And I went down. I've got a pal who stays in LA, so I just hired a motor from Vegas, drove down to California.
How long does that take, man?
That's not that long. That's like 4 hours or something. That's a good drive though. It's still in the desert, but get your tunes on. It's good, man. I love driving. I love just travelling and listening to songs. And I met my mate he was an actor, and we ended up going to these bars with like Ron Jeremy and all this. It's fucking, it was wild, man.
That's healthy, man.
Ron Jeremy, you know, he battered you anyway.
He's
smack you with that.
He's looking at. I think he's got a fucking life. He's getting life now, man.
He's getting a sentence, isn't he?
He's life now. So I end up in this rock and roll bar.
Mad, damn it, the names, man, just flinging them about. I'm sitting going, I was with wee Frank, man, that plays big line.
I'm seeing Josh Weir for Paul later.
So my mate that I go down to see, he's an actor. He's called Andrew Byransky, right? So he played Big Zangief in the Street Fighter film. The guy does that and all. He was also Leatherface in the remakes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he does a lot of stuff with like the horror cons and comic cons and goes and does all this. But he's fucking mental, right? Like bonkers. So I end up stuck with him. He comes to my hotel with these two wee dogs. And I'm like, you're not getting in. No, you'll never get in with these dogs, because it was a mad posh hotel in Hollywood. Is that I'll just say they're service dogs, but he's about fucking 10 foot a cunt, right? Bald like fuck. So true enough, man, he walks by all the security. They don't even peep a word, man. He's got these two dogs, right? Is that it was Thanksgiving, and it was like my last night. He's like, come to this house. I'll take you. We'll have some food. Show you what Thanksgiving's all about. I was like, right, okay. And it was called Leighton Heights in LA. It was pretty dodgy fucking hood thing, which I didn't know, right? So I go in, it's got barbed wire in it and all that. And he's took me to a fucking halfway house, man. Right? Which I didn't know at the time what really a halfway house was. But it was for people coming out, like the jail or former addicts and all that. So I'm fucking... I don't know if I can say this, but I'll say it.
Go for it.
So they take us into this house, man. It's got all sorts, right? Like fucking big bikers, stoners, Mexicans, all sorts of more. And they've got this big feast on, right? And they're watching war films. They were watching like 1917, and I'm just there for a fucking Scottish part. What's happening, my man? I think I called the Mexican Essie or something, right? And he just didn't like it, man. I was going out the back garden, they were digging up drugs and all sorts. It was proper bonkers, man, right? And I'm just like, how did I get here? How did I fucking get here?
If he's an actor, how do you end up in gaps like that?
He's not right, man. Like, he's proper bonkers.
Do you get a good feed on that, but?
Aye. He was like, some fucking mad stoners come in like, did you try the cranberry sauce? And I was just like, no, is it? Don't, it's laced. I'm like, just tried this bit of turkey. It's like one
dry turkey with no cranberry sauce. Unbelievable, man.
So,
and you know none of that would have happened if you hadn't went to Team Raw.
That's true, man. That is true.
That is mental, especially doing it all yourself, Bungy. It's some set of balls, mate.
I know.
Travelling yourself.
It helps when you can file it fucked, doesn't it? You have that wee extra bit of confidence.
No, when you've took laced cranberry throwing haymakers and just missing people, you know what I mean?
Some of the locations I go to, though, they get me in sticky situations, like just try to get a wee photo of where a film was located, man.
But these stories they last you a lifetime now, innit, man?
I know, sitting on a podcast getting a good laugh about it.
I've done the Training Day one. Like, Training Day is one of my favourite films. So I was like, right, I'll get the Denzel Washington scene at the end where he's like King Kong and got shot on deep proper, won an Oscar and all that. But I knew where it was, but I knew they filmed it in like a dodgy street. They had to get like permission off the gangs and all that. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just go in. We call it one and done. Photo a day in the gym, one and done, that's it. So I pull into this street, it's just a cul-de-sac. It's at the bottom, obviously, be like Eva Mendes style or whatever. And as I pull in, I shit you not, right, there's two police motors abandoned in the middle of the road with the doors open, and I can't go anywhere because the motor's behind me. I'm like, fuck's sake, man. So as I'm going right up beside them, they've got like a line-up, man, guys zip tied, a couple of black guys, police guns pointed to him. I'm like, I'm going to catch a bullet here. I'm going to be in the paper for try to take a photo of a stupid fucking street and catch a bullet or some shit like that. Why am I here? You know what I mean? So I go up slowly, man, and it's hot as fuck. It's always hot there, and I'm just like pure Scottish. I can remember it. Fucking so cringy, man. Just pure Scottish to the post that. sorry man, like, alright, what's happening? Like, just squeezing by because they're in the middle of the road. Like, so I get to the cul-de-sac bit because it's just like 100 yards away from it. But whoever they're arresting, all their pals and their mates or their gang members are doing a bit. I'm just shouting abuse at the police. So I've spun at the cul-de-sac. I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm getting out. You know what I mean? It's a big camera, and I mean, it's just like an actual camera. So I've jumped out. As soon as I've jumped out just to take this picture, hey, what the fuck you doing, man? I'm just like, looked there. I'm just like, nope, just back in the motor, man. I just didn't make eye contact with him at all. And then that was it. Back slowly again and again, man. It was a post that was looking this time. I'm like, sorry, man. I just, you know what I mean? Took it on exit. End up here. Sorry. Scotland. First time tourist. No, I mean, so. But that shit like that, you're just like, you're putting yourself in these positions for what? A fucking photo, you know what I mean? But
still, but I bet you love the photo.
Loved it. It was one of my favourites.
That's what I mean, mate. That's what I mean. So it's worth it, not
absolutely.
Aye, been to some dodgy places, the Bronx and all that, just South Central, done all the boys in the hood, see the alley where they get shot and all that, jumping about a fucking camera at South Central.
Is that no dodgy as anything, that man?
Proper, mate.
Probably did,
I've got balls of steel, bro, mate.
There was me and the missus taking pictures outside the Ghostbuster station in New York.
Aye, that's a Bellator, that's one of my favourites, I know.
Yeah, that's crazy shit, man.
It won't be that when the cunts just come up with doing a gun, not me, just gives your camera, gives this and that, but
putting them in an ember.
Yeah. But no,
nuts.
it's something I enjoy doing. So, because I've travelled the far world now, I'm like, right, where's next? I can get a holiday out of it because it's just like you're taking a picture, it takes 2 seconds, you know what I mean? But maybe if I go to Hawaii, nice lovely holiday, we'll do Jurassic Park stuff, add that in, and then it's just a holiday really, but you're adding it's like film tourism, you know what I mean?
That's how you unwind, mate, innit? For all your training and all your hard work you're putting in, and that's what you're into, man.
I can relate. I'm a bit sad like that, I know. Like, see, do you ever remember the programme that was on E4, Rules of Engagement?
Aye.
I went to the diner for that. You ever seen the film So I Married an Ex-Murderer?
Aye.
See, they sit in this wee tin diner in San Francisco. Me and her have went to that because I love all that stuff. I think it's brilliant. I can get it, but I'm not going to the ghettos and that to get a picture.
But this is the last one. I went to Tunisia, right, but I took my girlfriend, right, and she's like, I just thought it was a fucking, I take me to Tunisia, a nice wee bit of...
We go see Star Wars.
Aye, right, so but it's like fucking proper 8 hours south, Tunisia, close to Libya border. There's no roads. Like, there's no females. She's got some tattoos, I've got tattoos. But females aren't allowed to drive in Tunisia, I don't think. She's driving sometimes, we're getting some dodgy ass looks, right? And I'm just like, she thinks it's got to be paradise. And I'm just like, no, we're going to try to find Luke Skywalker's fucking hut and in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? So we'll take her all the way down here, man, but it starts fucking pissing down, raining, man. I know, fucking in the desert raining, I can't see shit, there's no roads. Boom. There was a big lorry coming towards me, so I kind of moved a wee bit, and I fucking hit a wing mirror, I parked the motor, right? She said, oh, you just hit that? And I was like, no, I didn't. just keep going, right? I just wanted to get to this hotel, man, because it was just so fucking dodgy, man. Probably the dodgiest places I've been. And then just somebody was flashing, man. Somebody's flashing me. It's a pissing down. She's like, somebody's flashing. I'm like, nah, man, just keep going. They've pulled up here, man. There were 4. I don't know.
They pulled up alongside you?
Aye. Don't know if it's, Arabs. I don't know what it is. Or they're right, so I don't want to offend anybody, but they're just just shouting at me. I'm just like, we're getting buried out here, man. We're getting buried in this desert. I'm like, don't know what you're saying, my man. What are you talking about? And he's pointing at me. I know what he's fucking talking about. I was like, I don't know, man. Don't know what. I don't understand. And they're got mental. They're like 4 in the back and all, man. Like, I think they're chilled up more. I'm just like, I don't understand. A tourist. And you could see them annoyed, but see just up a bit. There was like a border check, not a border check, but just a police check. And I think they seen them and they're like, I'm like, sorry, man, sorry. I came out, a music on, I didn't hear no that. She was shaking herself, I was shaking herself for her because her getting took away or some shit.
Romancing.
So they just U-turned and then we go to the police and I was like, we're on holiday, and the guy posted like, you come here for a holiday? I'm like, I just got to say the Star Wars thing, not me. I end up getting to the Star Wars thing, but you need to walk miles in this flat land to get out to it, but it's a wee hut, but you can see it in the distance. She's like, I'm not walking to that. I'm not coming all the way down here. Nobody fucking walk to it. Get all the way to it, and I was like, anyway, you want a shag in it? She's like, I was like, oh, who can say shagged the Luke Skywalker sister? But there's a radio say fucking nothing for miles. Like, what if somebody comes? I'm the one coming, nobody else is like.
But see something I can finish a couple of times before they get to us.
They cunts got to be coming, you can't see them for miles. So it's always say that. It's always say that. You fucking fucked that chance up, man. See when it comes over the telly, I see we could have shagged in that.
Can I get your whole tattoo?
You could have fucking imagine. Like hanging away in there, like we conceived that. Fucking Luke Skywalker says you're a Skywalker, Jedi strong with you. So there's just a couple of the ones a day, but I've got millions. I run a page and there's
honestly,
hundreds, man.
I could just score all this out.
Just score it all out, man.
No,
I think when you roll this, we didn't think we were going to talk about ghettos, essays, shagging and little Skywalkers.
See that essay guy? Like, it was Damon Otten, following me back. I've just followed you, following me back and all that, and I was just like that. It's like dinner watching this 1970. I was like, I'll follow you. Can I get a signal, big man? Can I get a signal, man? Yeah, but I've just followed you, following me back. That's me there. I just gave my UFC hat and everything. I gave them all. And I was like, right, followed you, man. As soon as I left that house, I just followed that sucker, man. He was just demanding me to follow him. Know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you? Know what I mean?
Crackpots, man.
Aye, so I've spoken enough about films and shit. Like that.
Oh, superb, man.
Well. Right, we'll go with being sacked for the steelworks. Right? We'll tell another story, you can go for that.
The steelworks is some laugh, by the way.
Good. This is good, but it's not always me telling the daft stories on this show.
I've not told anybody the steelworks. I shagged the cleaner. I shagged the cleaner in the toilet. So if you work there, get up anyways, man.
I tell you what,
especially the boss, man.
This is definitely.
I think she came on you, man. She was gutted enough.
This is definitely, when I'm putting this on YouTube, this is definitely getting not made for kids.
Aye, are you warning on it?
Oh, brilliant.
But the steelworks is fucking a shithole, mate. Honestly, it was flooded. People didn't show up. My brother worked there. He didn't show up. Two guys at Bellsall and that. They all took days off every day. So you're like, it's a lot of who was in. I was always in. Sometimes I wasn't. You're running the fucking factory yourself, forklifts, all the guillotine machines. Pure illegal to work yourself, you know what I mean? But we just done it. And then one day I just got pulled in. And I shared a folder there, man. Honestly, like I thought I was going. You couldn't get sacked for this place. Honestly, it was so fucking. I worked there for years and years. And because I was off or something, can't remember what it is, but she said this folder and I brought a witness in and there's a table and I could see like through the paper, it was like I could see a picture of me, like I could see it was me in Germany with all these Asian lassies. There was like 5 Asian lassies at a Celtic game. I don't know who the fuck I thought it was, a celebrity or something, but they were all fucking over me anyway. So I got a picture with them, right? I feel like fucking Val Venus at the wrestling, man. And I could see this picture, man. Oh yeah, that's me in fucking Dusseldorf. Man, fuck's sake, let's go that picture for. And I was like, she just starts putting all these pictures of like the fucking FBI. Boom, boom,
Exhibit A.
And I just busted out laughing because I can't control my laugh sometimes. And she said, do you think this is funny? And I was just like, wait, the fuck is this, man? She's like, this day you said you were off and you were training at Celtic. It was a picture of me at the Lennoxtown training with the team. I'm not going to fucking no go to that, know what I mean? There, you're in Germany. There, you're in Iceland training. These were all sickies because I'd ran out of holidays, so I just took a sickie if I was training Dublin or Iceland for a fight. And here you're in fucking Germany with these lassies. That's a Celtic game, man. But I was just like, you got me, and all that. Like, what can you say? You got proof. It was all my Instagram pictures, so they were on.
Which was not private.
No, man. Just they were a woman, not me. You didn't think I was going to fucking chin you. So I'm like, I'll take the fucking the written fucking warning or whatever the fuck you get. Sure as hell next day, man, sacked. Couldn't believe it, man. I was gutted. Even though I hated the job and it was dead end, like it was your income. I paid my motor, I paid my rent or whatever. So I was like, I've got this flat, I've got fucking my motor. I'm like, shit, where's the money got to come from? But it was a fucking shite hellhole job at a dead end. It wasn't going anywhere. You get a good laugh with the boys in the factory, like you always do. You play pranks. It's just a factory job, know what I mean? But they'll shut down now, so that says it all, know what I mean? So, but it was like the best thing that ever happened to me was losing that job, because I went in full time as a professional fighter, training more than once a day, and I was dieting better and I was just resting better, and then I started PTing and coaching stuff like that, which brought probably more money in, and I was focused, and that's when my career really hit off.
How do you go full time with the fighting? Do you need to get somebody to kind of basically sponsor you to do that, or is it? Do you get like cared?
You need time. You need the time. I done the doors as well. I done security at the weekend, so I was working nightclubs and pubs for like 50, 60 quid a shift a night, which was dreadful. But no, you need time. You go full time, but obviously it depends who you are. You got money, somebody got to fucking pay your way. Your mom, where you staying, your mom and dad, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But if you got bills to pay, you need to work around about this. PT, stay in the gym longer, do the doors. I don't know, half of these cunts sell drugs these days, know what I mean? You're like, all these hustling cunts try to make money but train. But when I started doing it full time, I was training in the morning, and I was training at night, and I was training again, and I was resting in between and eating the right foods. Where when I was working 9 hours, like I would work a full shift and go at night to training, I was fucked. I was like unmotivated, I was tired for working, and then I probably wasn't getting the best at my shift, at my session. So it's tough because you need to make money. Everything costs money these days. Rent, food, even the healthy foods these days. Not even these meal prep companies as well. So money's everything. Sadly, it is, man. So and so is training. You need to pay your fees and etc. Get to training, petrol. I've moved away now, so it's like half an hour journey 3 times a day back and forth. So it's a lot of petrol as well. You know what I mean? So. Sacrifices though, I know people that travel hours to get to training and back, so it's how bad do you want it? How bad have you got the money? Is it stuff like that? So, it's
how do you find the diet stuff? I'm asking that because I used to, I run marathons, I've done a lot of eating, I just stopped it all, I got injured and I just put on a bit of weight and that. I cannot stop eating chocolate. How do you manage the diet side of it?
I just ate 6 cookies in the way on me. Like, my diet is shocking. It was these Terry chocolate ones cookies from Tesco. They're proper good. Shout out Tesco.
Shout out Terry's, sponsorship for me.
I tried to get a sponsor for Millie's cookies, right? And then they tweeted me, "Good luck today, man, Christopher. For your fight," and my ex-bud at the time's like, "Who's Millie?" Millie's cookies, you fucking whore. Know what I mean?
That's woman, you know.
So, no, I'm a chocoholic, mate. Like, I've got the worst diet in the world, but when I'm training for a fight, I can switch it off 8 to 12 weeks. But right after that, my body must be like, what the fuck is going on here, man? I'll eat like fucking big tray cookie cakes, double ricing and all that. Like, I can eat that.
The way Ricky Hatton used to go.
That's what I do,
even that, see that new boy that's kicking about Paddy? See how bloated he's went? He's went for his fight at the Scouser boy Pumlet or something, Paddy. And he's
fat as fuck, man.
His face,
he only fought a couple of weeks ago.
He's obviously just gone taunt 20.
Because you can drop your weight so much, fighters. Like, I walk about 84 kilo and I fight at 70. So, see, as soon as I'll weigh in at 70, well, the next day, when I'm full of water or whatever, I'm going to be up at 80 again. So it's just...
That's a lot.
See when you strip...
2 stone or whatever.
See when you strip that amount, like when you're just right before the fight, you must be fucking shattered, man. You feel like shit.
Well, my first few fights I was fucking weighing in, and then I was eating hot dogs and all that, so I didn't have a clue. I wasn't educated whatsoever in it. But the more I do it, I got a nutritionist in, I understood the science behind everything, and then now, as soon as I weigh in, I know what I'm putting in my body. I know you're not eating right away, you're drinking. I've got like 4 or 5 drinks to drink, sit for over 20 minutes, get all the stuff back into your body, the salt, etc. And then you start eating, and so it's now I feel like a new man. I'm like, fuck, I could fight the night, where realistically it took me like about a week to feel normal again, after depleting myself and just taking everything out of your body. Now, where I've got these guys in working with me, like I could fight the Friday night instead of like Saturday night now. So it's, if you know the right science behind it and get the right team behind you, you feel good. But no weight cut's good.
I've seen some of the stuff you've done with the Epsom salts in the bath and wearing the trackies and that in the sauna. That must be horrific, man.
It's horrible, but I always feel like I'm like the toughest guy out there. Like, my mental strength is like one of my main attributes, but I've done it for so long and so many times. I nearly fought 40 times now. Like, it's just normal now. It's a part of the process. Time to get the weight off, and somehow my body knows it's happening. So see, it's weird, you get to a certain stage of the fight camp, the weight just starts to drop, and then fight week is the hardest bit of the weight cut, obviously, because you're taking the last out your body. But it's just a process now that I'm used to, and kind of nailed it doing it.
Probably through experience.
I've had some horrific ones where I've had to get carried about and stuff like that, and my boys dried off my teammates and that, like, you're coming out, falling out of bath and you're getting all dried, man, like, what is going on here, man? Now I'm like, I've got it down to a T now. I know exactly what I'm doing, what I should be doing and when I should be doing it. So trial and error, man.
So it's experience, I suppose.
Get guys that know what they're doing. You'll feel it in the fight, you'll just get fucked.
See, like, obviously with the early days when you're doing all this stuff and it is still experimentation with you, obviously you're winning most of your fights and that, and then you talk about your nutrition stuff, so now you're like, you could fight on the Friday instead of the Saturday. So you get into a fight, you're much more comfortable now with that, because I'd imagine you'd probably be a wee bit nervy before a fight, and my body's no right in it.
Aye. There was one of my Bellator fights, actually. I didn't feel I was like an outer body experience. I didn't feel myself walking about, sitting down, and that transferred all the way into the fight. And then a few days later, and I got fucked up. Like, I had hematomas, concussions for weeks. Every time I looked down, I had a concussion and that. Like, I was just dizzy, and it all came from my nutrition. Like, it all came from my diet, my weight cut, and not putting the right stuff into my body. And I paid the price for it that day, and that was probably the worst.
But I suppose on the flip side, it's almost like a good thing in a way, where it's like, I'm not doing that again.
Aye, that's when I brought my guy from England in, and it's just
some difference.
Night and day, man. I would tell any fighters coming up to get in touch with a nutritionist, but somebody knows the game, MMA game. Like, no, just wants you eat these calories, like, fucking, like, go on the treadmill, do this. But somebody knows the game, the MMA game, and especially your refueling after you've made weight, what you should be doing.
Nah, it's you think people just train to let them fight.
The weight cut's just as important as the fight. 100%. That's.
See, one thing I don't know if PG was going to top it, but you ran your own event now, not that long ago.
Hollowtown Havoc.
And you were fighting in it and all. So how was that actually, running about trying to organise everything and concentrate on a fight at the same time?
That was the worst, man. Like, I won't do that again.
No.
Definitely no.
Went well, but didn't it?
It was amazing. Sold out. Every fight was like a fight of the night. And there was zero trouble. It was hot.
Was that your biggest concern? Do you think there was going to be trouble in case there was trouble with it?
You never know. It was only a small social club in Hollowtown, but still a good few hundred in it, know what I mean? But you never know, these fight shows, like, you get people come down from Aberdeen, Edinburgh, they're fighting against each other. You never know, man. Fight shows, people think they can fight when they can't. But that, I done everything. I done the weigh-ins for the boys, I matched everybody. I got it all set up together. I had to build the cage the night before. I was fucked. Like, even the next day, the cage wasn't really finished. We finished it. I didn't really have time to refuel. And I'm emotionally involved with my teammates fighting. They were up one after the other. I'm wanting me win. We're up, we're doing. I'm like, I need to chill here, man. I'm still to fight here. Forgetting this Spanish guy's coming out of leather here. Know what I mean? It was a small cage, so it was like so much action, like 2 steps and you were in front of the guy. So that's a good thing about the small cages. Like, there's nowhere to go, and like there's a lot of.
See when that, like, obviously with football pitches, there's got to be like certain dimensions you go to have. Which is it like that? Is that like?
No, you just got all different sizes of cages.
Really?
Aye. The one we used was like a 16-inch, 16 foot. But you can get them 20, 25 feet. I think the UFC Bellator ones are like 25 feet or something. It all depends. Aye. If you're a guy striker, you like to move, you want a bigger cage. But if you can find a wrestler in a small cage, he's got to get you because there's not much room. So, but there's more action then. So if there's 2 strikers in a small cage, it's got to be some fight, and every fight was a banger. everybody loved the show. They're like, when's the next one? And I done a wee video, and like everybody could see how good it looked, and so they're all wanting involved in the next one. And but I'll probably need to go bigger, like bigger venue, because I had to tell hundreds and hundreds of people that couldn't come. People that have followed me everywhere. It's shit. You know what I mean? So I'll do another one, but I probably won't fight in it because it was just too much.
You fought the boy, and I apologise for Sarah Shrink Garmendia.
Garmendia.
How good a fighter was he? Was it kind of, because obviously you've got so much on, maybe subconsciously or whatever, you know you've got Hannah's on, you can't prepare for that like you would prepare for like a Terry Brazier fight or something, you know what I mean? So was that an intentional choice to pick somebody like him, or was it just
we wanted an international guy? I fought somebody for every country, really, every continent, and I was like, we'll go for a Spanish guy. They were easy to fly in if they were vaccinated, stuff like that. He was high up the ranks. He was a striker. He was quite experienced in Muay Thai, K1, and he had like 20 or 30 MMA fights. So I'm like, he'd been submitted his last 2 fights. If I was going to win the fight easily, then I could out wrestle him. I knew I was superior in wrestling and jiu-jitsu him. But I was like, I would train my striking. I'm like, I want to fucking stun him bang. I was so fucked. It was so hot, man. I'm like, it was a small cage. I'm like, I can take him down whenever I want. But he was strong as fuck. He was landing some good kicks. Mashed my leg up a wee bit. A fly knee off the face. I'm just like, fucking hell, I think I'm tired here. I don't know if it was because of the heat or just the energy I'd used in the last couple of days for the whole show in the cage and stuff like that. But I knew when I finally got him down, like I was just mashing him with elbows, and as I said earlier on, strikes lead to submissions. The people get your back, they put an arm up, arm bars, arm triangles, so it's good. So I was just mashing him with elbows and punches, and I finally got a submission at the end of the first round. But he was a gentleman, not me. He came out and fought, and he was a nice guy. But it's just a lot of hard work having to fly people in, get them tested, get them in hotels. It's just all money, you know what I mean? But the production was great, the show was great, the fans were great, the atmosphere was nuts, and everybody enjoyed it. So it's a success, definitely a success. Just the next one, he's glad to come. Maybe even do a wee bit of commentary at the side of the ring.
And he's punched him, and he's got him in an arm hanging here. That's my knowledge.
He's just heavy gave him, man.
The Scottish commentary. The old wrestling, we used to have like the Spanish commentary. The table used to get done in all the time. That's what you use, Scottish commentary.
See, in terms of like my knowledge of, like I said earlier, is very limited, but looking through your previous fights, now you like to wrestle, is that kind of your thing? Because I see you got a lot of submissions and stuff like that.
I like to make it gritty against the cage, rough them up, slam them on their head, suplex them, and just beat them up, punches, elbows, until they give me a submission. It's quite easily done, but it's a grueling way to fight against the cage. Cage works like, you do like a wee 30-second work against the cage, you're tired, so you having to do that for 15 minutes. It's just grueling. It's not the right way to fight, and it can just zap your energy. Yeah, it happened to me in Milan, and I was fighting like a bigger French guy, and it was just a lot of work against the cage, and then you separate, your arms are gone, and you're just tired, and you're fighting a totally different fight. So I've been working on my boxing and my striking for a few years now. So, and I don't know, when I get in there, it's just like, just go back to what you're good at if it's winning your fights. But sometimes you can't take these guys down, so you need to like strike and work in your angles and set it up different. So I just like beating people up. I like actually physically holding people down and batting the fuck out of them. Until somebody asked me what do I do for a living recently, and I basically squeeze people until they don't want to be squeezed anymore. And that's
just a mental concept.
Listen, is what you love in life. That's it, innit?
You get it, but why do you think it was weird that, because like with me at football, I like to run, and I would love playing against a winger or a fullback, and I could see it in their face, it's not stopping them. I hate it, and I suppose it's outweighs to that in some way. You're just like, you're just wearing them down. A wee bit of David Goggins thrown in there.
Love it, man, love it. But who's got to lift the boats, mate?
Oh, it's brilliant. That's a great book, yeah. Terry Brazier fight, I wanted to touch on that because that was probably your biggest moment at that time. On Channel 5 fighting a good crowd in Newcastle and stuff. What was that like?
Unbelievable, man.
I watched that.
It was like fairy tale shit because we were shooting a documentary, and realistically in my head I had doubt that I was going to lose because he was so good. He was like a 2-weight world champion. I'm not one of these guys that my mind's fucking bulletproof because people say this because they think that's what they need to say. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've had a great fight, Cam. My mind's built, mate. I'm untouchable. Number one, you've already lost, mate. Calm down. But you have shit days in the gym. It's not always good. Sometimes it's shit. And I had doubt that I was going to lose a fight because the guy was a 2-weight world champion, lightweight and welterweight, animal running through cunts. So I thought I kind of was getting fed to the lions because it was my first fight in my contract. But I accepted it in a second, you know what I mean? Like, it was a test and it makes you train harder. Like, you know who you're up against. If you're not training, then you're going to get fucking run over. So we were shooting a documentary and all that, and like, it was just perfect. It couldn't have went any better. It was sold out in the Metro Arena in Newcastle. I had about a couple hundred there. And obviously I dominated and finished in 2 minutes, and it was just like every cunt just like, whoa. Like the amount of attention the media got after that, and the love it really put me on the map. And it was something I can take to my grave because that moment was class, man. Just choking his wee ass out.
Well, the real naked choke's always a good unit. It's one of my favourite moves.
Mate,
and the beating people up thingy.
That's the thing, right? It's a tough sport, not, but see that buzz when you must tap somebody out or knock somebody out or win the fight, man. It must be the best feeling. It must be some feeling, man.
You can't eat it.
Must be like shagging and Luke Skywalker.
I don't know what it is like. I got robbed of that. But it's such an undescribable feeling. I can't tell you. You would just need to experience it yourself.
See for me, right, and this is just purely looking at it. With football, you train all week, but then you get a game on the Saturday or whatever, and then it's the same the next week. You've always got a week to wait or whatever. Your game, so it's not that long. With the fighting game, it's kind of, you could be months and months of hard training. Even although it'd be a great feeling, do you know about a bit push to knock somebody out in 10 seconds?
No, it does not.
No, because you're like,
that's better, man.
I've fought and trained and done horrible shit for months and no had these Millie cookies and that, and then I've just went in and leathered this guy with one punch. Like,
no, man.
You be buzzing that fat.
You buzz that fat, know what I mean? It's like, people maybe think, oh, that's work into that wee 10 seconds or whatever, but there's just so much more, and it's just, especially if the guy's good and you're just running through him, it's highlight reel stuff, you know what I mean? But no, like, I've been in 3-round wars, blood everywhere. No. I'll take 10 seconds is the story of my life. So I'm happy with that. But don't get me wrong. Like, I look back at the awards as well, I'm like, that was a good fight, man. Like, I had a good war with Colin Fletcher, who was in the UFC, and we were just slitting in each other's blood, and it was like, try to choke me, or slit him out it, and I was elbowing him, then I was slitting out that for 3 rounds. And
what's it like when you watch them back?
I watched that back the other week here, somebody tagged me in it.
What do you feel like when you watch them back? Do you feel nervous, or do you watch it?
I was getting a buzz. I was getting a buzz, but I made some mistakes and I still do. Why did I do that? Why did I go for the submission there when maybe I should have kept position? And they're keen away position, and it looks like he's winning the round because it was like a split decision.
Aye.
And so you look back at wee mistakes, but what a war it was, man. And I don't know, I still like knowing I can go through wars as well.
We'll see, like, because I've got it done, it was a decision. See, with that, how's that mentally for you? Because you know it's like you've all been involved in games where 90 odd minutes and a team sucker punch you, score a goal, absolutely devastates you. What's that like mentally trying to take that? Because you've been through an absolute war with a guy one-on-one. How does that feel when it's like a split decision and it's subjective in a sense? It's at least in football, you score, then it's a goal. You know that's just the way it is. How's that for you to deal with?
It's tough because you're so close to winning, and in your mind sometimes, well, if you're honest, you think you've won. You're like, no, I won that fight. That instance, he'd missed weight and he was so much heavier, and that, it was his hometown, stuff like that. These all go against you, but you still think you've done enough, and it's gotten, but it's still part of the sport. Like, there needs to be a winner, there needs to be a loser, and I'm alright with the rules, so I wouldn't do it.
That's fair enough. See, to be honest, I've absolutely loved this. There's been some class stories, and we're not done yet. There's more about to talk about. There was a lot I had there that we've not got through, which, to be fair, there's our podcast you've spoke about it on, so people can go and watch them. But see, we'll move on to the football now, because obviously this is predominantly a football podcast.
I don't know.
It is indeed. Aye.
See, man, I think this is, what is it, Joe Rogan or something? I think
So you play with MTK Hollyton on a Saturday, and you play with Bullwood, which was that was all Bullfrog, wasn't it? Is it combined?
Oh, no.
Is that
No,
not?
they always-
I would just assume because of the name.
No,
that's a rival, isn't it?
it was at one point.
Is that right? I thought, because I know that Bullfrog, they went out, didn't they? Went out the game. I thought it was like maybe an amalgamation of two teams. But how's this season been going for you? Because you've been firing all cylinders for the Sundays.
Well, I love my Sundays. I've always played Sunday football just through like my training and that schedule, and I was always free on a Sunday. But I love playing for Bullwood. Obviously, COVID fucked us. We were in the Scottish Cup final, in the West final, I feel like 2 years ago, which was still to get played this year, hopefully. And we won the league, we won the cup, we'd won everything. I think we've only lost one game since we've been formed, which is weird. And we're all moaning bastards. So
there's a few junior boys, ex-junior boys. Happy at Pettigrew, I used to play against Lee and another Blantyre.
Some great players in the team, like proper solid team for a Sunday. That's why we're in the Scottish Cup finals, etc. and that. But oh man, the day we lose, man, want to see if we've not scored in the first 25 minutes, it was just on everybody's back and just moaning bastards until we score. But great bunch of guys. Hopefully we can win one of the big cups. That's what you play. I've played Sunday football for years, loving Scottish Cup. How far we've got to get this season, and you want to win the Scottish, know what I mean? Saturday or Sunday or whatever.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
So we won the league and we ended up moving. But we were in the Adrian Coatbridge League. We won at a canter. People pulled out, so we're now in the Central. And we're top of the league, but we've drew a couple and won the rest. But we've beat all the top teams in that, and so I'm quite comfortable we'll win this league. But we don't know about the Scottish and the West, how far we'll get this season. But hopefully we get farther as the holders. MTK, it's all my mates that we started a team. Great managers, Tam Morgan, Joe McDonald, great players. We've won most of our games this season as well. I just played my first game a few weeks back because I was training for the fight. Loving it. We've done foot golf on Saturday. Just, you know what it's like. The boys are the boys, you know what I mean? And
that's it.
When you're bonding, especially when you win on a Saturday, it sets you up for the weekend.
Aye, Saturday morning, and then you can go out fairly doors and enjoy yourself. See, my big thing, Bungy, what's the attention like? What's it like when you're playing against players? Not because I'd imagine, mate. I've already just found it within the pod. I've already getting shouts off people to say, "Stick to podcast, that it's stinking." So man like yourself, it's obviously known, and people must try and push your buttons. Not, it must be hard.
It goes two ways. Some of them suck up mass a bit, right? They'll get once pictures before or after. They'll message me, "I'm playing you tomorrow, can I get a picture?" Stuff like that.
That's mad, isn't it? I would never message somebody I was playing the next day asking for a picture. I mean?
So I'm like that. I'm going to cement this cunt. Man, never meet your hero. And just fucking off. aye. Just in above grass, not I mean? But or you get other guys. Like, I'm not saying I'm a skillful player, right, but I can take people and skin them, and I get a lot of fouls. So see if I go down the box, people are like, "We're supposed to be a fighter." Like, it's still kick fuck at me, mate. It's a foul, and that's totally different sport. Or you'll get cunts to the side. Like, it can go both ways. Or stay away from him. I want to start with him, but everybody does know who I'm are when they're up against me, or cunts try to get me sent off and stuff like that. But I love it. I love it. Like, I suppose
in the sport you're taught this self-discipline, and that's hard, but I just think it's shite, it's out of order, because I just think that people then just try and focus on different things and outweigh the football and that.
They try and get me sent off a lot.
Well, we spoke about it before.
Start getting wide knowing that you can't do anything to them.
Sometimes they lift their horns to me, but I don't take shit on the park.
You can still honour yourself in a football park.
I'm like Big Sutton when the refs know, you know what I mean?
We spoke about it before we came on, and my cousin and a couple of my mates have a team in your league and they ask me to play occasionally, and I'll try and I'll maybe come down and pretend I'm injured that day and I'll just watch for the side. Can I get a picture?
Don't you start that, don't you let me down now. See, you start messaging him the day before saying, can I come out and get a picture of you? I'll be fun with me.
I remember it was a corner a few weeks ago, and like the guy was marking me, and he's just like, he's done. You Chris Bungard in the corner? Like, aye. Try to go for it. You know what I mean? You'd see them like actual just register, like, fuck's sake. So it's weird sometimes saying that, but.
And what about where you're fighting, do your coaches encourage you not to play football?
Aye, they don't like it. Brian doesn't like me playing football, but I've always played football, so he's never told me to stop. And nobody's, and the football guys have never told me to stop fighting, so. The minute one of them tell me to stop, I'll probably stop doing theirs, you know what I mean? So I'm just happy. This is just my life. I play football, I train. I've not touched wood, man, but I've never been injured. Playing football, it's getting me to fighting. I've never been injured fighting. It's getting me to playing football.
Do you stop but when you're getting to a certain
couple of weeks
time,
before?
But fighter that.
I've played on a Sunday before, like the week before. And cancel that. When's your next fight? And I'm like, next week.
That's the problem when you score the goals that you're scoring. You can't go, I didn't play, because then the next week when you put things in Twitter, I'm not going.
Let's be honest, we already know he's not good at that. The Steelworks sacked him because he's not good at that.
Aye, I need to share if I scored that. I always share it, man.
So, can I just before we wrap up, a couple more wee things. Obviously, big connections with Celtic and that. Everybody knows that listens to the show, I'm a Celtic fan. We'll not go too.
I'm a Rangers fan, but I'm shitting to say it today.
We'll not.
See, yes, put me another 10 minutes in, and that's just me getting set up boys to admit it, not me.
But I'll more stay away from the shit show that is Celtic just now. What's it like getting invited in to go and do things and like obviously the kind of friendship with Tierney and stuff like that was obviously gone now, but how is it being a Celtic fan and getting invited into Lennoxtown and getting to do wee things with the team?
It was like a win at Christmas when I got to do that. We'd done it with other fighters. It was to promote a show, the Hydro, for the Russian company I was with at the time, ACB. I know it was fucking mental. But they're like, oh, you want to go and do some promo stuff at Lennoxtown? I took Brian, done the pads with Brownie, Griff, Tierney, Gordon and stuff like that, Dembele, and I was just like, what is this, man? This is where I took the day off from work and got ended up getting sacked, and I was in the front page of the Daily Record hitting pads with Gordon. Like, they cut it out and everything, not me. So that, I'd done the Paradise Windfall. I was sitting in like Bill Conley's chair. I was having like tea with Lisbon Lions at half time. I listen to stories of like, this is it, man. This is the life.
And you've got stories, but these stories with them are legends.
I went on at part of half time. They didn't tell me they were going to interview me, right? And they're like, so what are you doing next week? Because I was going to fight Brazier, I think. And I think I swore like I'm going to fucking wrap my hands on this and choke this guy out, and it actually did happen to. But like, I looked up to my mates. They were all sitting in the stand section. You get a good reception. It's only against Hamlin-Accies, don't get me wrong, but there was still a good 30,000-40,000.
You walked on that part, but mate, that's what you dream of.
That's somewhere I can slightly trump you. I did the Paradise Windfall draw an Old Firm game once. I was about 10-year-old, and I had just pure chance sitting, and I had a season ticket beside my dad and my aunt. It was my granddad's season ticket, my auntie was with, and the steward just came up to my auntie and says, obviously thought it was my mum, went, "Does your boy want to do the draw at half time?" She's like, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, I want to do it. I think, see, to be honest, it was about the time the time of 3 of me. I was sliding in ease. Come on, I'm 10-year-old, maybe about 9 or 10-year-old, absolutely bricking it. 60,000 people there, picked out the winner, and the guy's like, "Oh, cheers, me man." Now I look back and say, I prick never even gave me any money. I got him $3,000.
Some door that.
I know it's mental now, but as we're finishing up, you're doing some more stuff. You're doing kind of the stuff with the ICW, with the wrestling. You're doing a bit of acting as well. We're going to be in a featured film.
He's acting, he's wrestling, he's on PG and Dax.
I know. That's right up my tap.
I'm peaking too early here. So I'm doing a bit of acting. Obviously, I told you I love cinema, I love movies. And I don't know if I'm any good, because every scene I'm in, I'm shouting or getting naked. You know what I mean? I do that all the time.
Could be the next Vinnie Jones, like the bad guy, you know what I mean? Just the bad guy. Yeah.
He made it into a Marvel film, Vinnie Jones, you know what I mean? So
it's true, man. True. But every scene I'm shouting, I'm getting angry. And I don't feel there's any emotion in it. Obviously there's emotion in it, but as an actor, so I don't know if I'm any good. The guys that are shooting and filming, directors, they're saying I'm good. They're like, no, I'm not blowing smoke, but you're fucking good, I don't care what you say. So I'm believing what they're saying. Whether it comes out, supply and demand, you can be the judge. Like, this guy's shite, this guy's actually alright. I'm in a TV show, Screw, Channel 4, prison drama, running about in the buff, chasing cunts, trying to shag fruit and all that. So like, just tune in. I'm called, see, my name in it is called Yogi, right? So
Big Yogi.
I can just
oh, fuck, my big favourite centre half at Celtic.
I just get a picture of walking down Buchanan Street after this had been out. Oh, Yogi.
When's that out, this good one?
I don't know. It's good that like the lassies feel like they're the girls and
good, mate.
And people for the bill and like Game of Thrones and that, and it was good. It was the set, like, they built a prison set in Kelvin Hall inside it, an actual free-flow prison set. It was ridiculous.
Aye.
Amazing. So I played one of the mad prisoners in that, but like I'm literally like chasing a guy in the
What
buff.
a Bronson type, man.
Aye, that's what it's like. So
right,
that,
before Bungy goes, right?
What we got here?
You keep talking.
Right.
I've always wanted to do this.
It feels like it's lost a bit of the natural side out now that he's disappeared. I don't know what he's doing. I never know what he's doing, to be honest with you.
Always wanted to do a stand-off with a fighter.
Oh, fuck, here we go. Square up.
Always wanted to do this.
For the people that are listening, Dax came out with a pair of gloves on and Mrs. Dax house coat.
I like this. I just like you just stand and just do the pose with Bungy. Can we do one, Bungy?
There you go. Craig's got a camera there.
Just do it on. What the camera be on?
No, you can do it.
I only mean one.
Oh, that's
fucking heart's beating. Heart's beating in my chest. Heart's beating in my chest.
I tell you what.
The Arabic Maverick versus the bad guy. You know what I mean? Get that on Holy Town Havoc next time.
That's as good a place as any to finish. This has been a bit different, obviously.
Very different.
With it being not really about football at all, but genuinely probably the one I've enjoyed the most that we've done. It's been unbelievable. The stories have been excellent. We really appreciate you getting up the time, mate.
Some guy for coming down.
Thanks very much.
Top stories, no holding back. Hope everybody gets behind it, watches your show.
That was
class,
honestly excellent.
Class.
Really appreciate
Wish you all the best, but now your future endeavours, mate.
You can see me wrestle at the Barrowlands.
Yes, get out there.
When is this?
This will be out 2 weeks tomorrow.
Perfect. You'll see me smash the Rangers fan Jason Reed in the Barrowlands November 21st. Get your tickets.
Jason, you need any backup? Arabic Maverick, mate, it's always up for that.
That wee staunch pussy's getting his arse out. So is this guy.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.
Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Cheers. Thank you.